youngsters. I'm a batch of 1979, so yes, I can say I'm basically belong to a category of orthodox chartered accountant compared to the young, tech savvy and more open-minded chartered accountant that we see nowadays. And before I really start sharing my thoughts, first and foremost, I'll be failing in my duties if I do not appreciate the efforts of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and more particularly the Western India Regional Council, to whom I also belong, in reforming the entire syllabi, the entire curriculum, the entire approach towards the chartered accountancy. When I became a chartered accountant, I think a chartered accountant was known to either be an accountant or be an income tax practitioner or be a wealth tax practitioner or be a estate duty practitioner. These were the laws in which a chartered accountant was confined. I was, because of various things, when I wanted to opt for a service, I knew there were some opponents in my family that why do you want to serve? Because chartered accountant, the results were so tough. And I remember, the nervousness and the happiness among the candidates. And it was like, I normally used to say that everything can happen in war, love and chartered accountancy. It's a student of the hostel, this was so common. And it was all laden with that anxiety. And I was vehemently opposed by my friends who went into practice compared to me who wanted to venture out into a job. But having evolved myself with changes of time, having kept pace with all the changes which were happening, not only in India, but across the world, having seen the economic upside of India right from 1992 to 2020 and maybe 2030 will be perhaps one of the fastest growing economy in the world, but India will be one of the country which will become a destination for FDIs to come in, for the investments to grow, for the job opportunities to grow. And friends, before we really go back to the opportunities for chartered accountants are available, let us see why a chartered accountancy is preferred or should be preferred compared to other professions. Our president has rightfully gave a lot of scope as an analyst, as an insurer, as a valuer, as a tax consultant, as a financial consultant, so on and so forth. But when I look back, because of my modest background that I came from, and today the situation perhaps is the same, one of the major benefit of chartered accountancy is that it is not restricted based on your percentage of marks. There are criteria, of course, but this criteria is not that you need to score 98%, you need to score 99%, you need to appear for this examination, this competitive examination, and then you gain an entry into a chartered accountancy. At my own home with my grandchildren and my children, that anxiety of appearing in the competitive examination certainly takes a heavy toll on your mindset. I will quote a very classic example of one of my friend's son who stood in merit, but he could not get admission to IIT of his choice. And he told me, Chitlange, I am really confused. Should I accept congratulations from the near and dear ones, or should I regret that my son has not been able to get in? And I said that just close the door. Let's be everybody be clear, because he wanted to pursue. He took a drop. Next year he got it. So first and foremost is that the chartered accountancy is not dependent on a very competitive exams, and it does not give you any stress. As Mr. Gupta has rightly said, that you need a different mindset, you need a different attitude to be a chartered accountant, on which I will of course deal separately. The second biggest benefit is that when you want to pursue a chartered accountancy, nobody is asking you to pay 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs. Actually, the entire education of a chartered accountant is basically a self-sustaining. When I was an article undergoing with my firm, we were being paid 60 rupees in the first year, 75 rupees in the second year, and 100 rupees in the third year of our articleship. But let me tell you that 60 was so much of a help. We used to always wait for that stipend to come in. When my son wanted to pursue a chartered accountancy and he joined PwC, the stipend was starting at 9,000 and 10,000 rupees. I was taken aback that where the world has undergone a change. I was introduced to all of you, but one introduction I must give. My entire family belongs to chartered accountants. I am a chartered, my son is a chartered. My brothers, both the sons are chartered, daughter-in-law is chartered accountant. My maternal uncle's son is a chartered accountant. My paternal uncle's son is a chartered accountant. His wife is a chartered accountant. My relatives, my daughter married a chartered accountant. His father is a chartered accountant. So when I really look back, we are more than 22 chartered accountants in the family. And that is one of the reasons I strongly advocate that become a chartered accountant. And let me also tell you, all 22 of us are doing different businesses. All 22 of us, except 2 of us who are in job, everybody has entered into either a business of its own, entered into the industry. And today's topic is not to share you career opportunities to be a CFO or to a CEO, or because of a lot of experience that I have gained over the years, and where many chartered accountants have drifted apart from taxation and accountancy and carved their own place in different fields. Let me approach the subject very much clearly, but always remember, my dear friends, and I'm very happy that the sort of response that you gave to this webinar, it makes us emboldened that we must conduct more such webinars through Central Council, to Western Council, and through Kalyan Dombivli chapter, which is so vibrant and taking this forward. So friends, this myth of a chartered accountant being successful only in accounting and taxation is wrongly placed. I think there are 2 things which I must share with you. The first is the background of a chartered accountant trains you to be absolutely analytical. I think Mr. Gupta has rightly said that you need to have an analytical skill. But I would say that if you need to clear a chartered accountant's examination, you need to be a more analytical skill. Today we are talking of all analysis getting replaced by artificial intelligence. But when you look back, that this artificial intelligence is being captured by whom? It is mostly by chartered accountants. The majority of the programs that we run, they are being written by chartered accountants. The majority of the background work is being carried out by chartered accountants. So the chartered accountants earlier were visible. Today I call that chartered accountants have become like Mr. India, invisible, but putting their stamp all over across that yes, without us the world cannot make a progress, if I may say so. So when we look back, the 2 fields which always I find dominated, one is the purchase department. I have seen majority of the companies, whether they are national, multinational, or even giants, they have started preferring people who have a chartered accountancy background with either a material management or a master's degree in terms of purchase, and that has opened up floodgates. Even at our own level, that is in Birla's, or for that matter at a Century Inc. or Century Rayon, who are reporting to me, the purchase department always has 1 or 2 chartered accountants, because when it comes to drawing a different analysis, whether it is the material of construction, whether it is the technical parameters of the product, whether it is the tests that need to be conducted for that equipment to get clear, whether it is the RPM of that particular gear, that particular motor, and of course the warranties and guarantees which comes with the product. I always found that a chartered accountant is absolutely matching the skill set of a brilliant technical person. And to me, that is one space that not to just confine yourself to be in the accounts or tax or in any other area. The second is a marketing. Again, I find that a chartered accountant with a dual degree in marketing are today becoming marketing heads of majority of the conglomerates. Again, what comes to the fore is basically that analytical skill, the analytical mind which goes into it. Whether it is a market survey that you need to carry about the product acceptance, about the product preference, about the comparison with the competitors, about the competitor analysis, about the regional sales, about the regional preferences. Again, I find that a chartered accountant is always in the forefront. I have multiple times demonstrated to one of my colleagues that a task given to a chartered accountant to come up with a marketing survey compared to a task given to anyone else to come up with a marketing survey, always you notice 2 or 3 different dimensions that a chartered accountant is able to bring to the table. So friends, of course, we still have a dominance in accounts, in taxation, GSTs and so on and so forth that Mr. Gupta has rightly dwelt. But today I would say that it is no more restricted just to be a CFO, just to be a CEO. You can always be a CMO, that is Chief of Marketing Operations. You can be a COO, that is Chief of Operations. You can be a CHRO, that is Chief of Human Resource Development. And you would be surprised, even some of the council members may be surprised, that what brings a chartered accountant to be a good HR person. I'll be very honest with you that the chair on which I am right now seated and addressing you, in this campus there are 7,000 people who are working. It is one of the largest unit in Maharashtra employing so many people under one roof. And when I started with Birla's and was gradually given the responsibility, I found that the changes I could bring in IR in terms of wage structures, in terms of the salary structures was absolutely good. What I attribute is a mindset of a chartered accountant to look beyond what is visible, and to a chartered accountant, what is visible is the optimization of the cost. So friends, any job which has one where the optimum of the scale has to be achieved or the optimum of the cost is to be achieved will be requiring skill set of a chartered accountant. So when this webinar was being planned and the title was given to me that career opportunities for chartered accountants to be a CEO or CFO, I thought that my college was restricting all those aspiring chartered accountants to just the 2 rules. We need to understand that not that every chartered accountant can be a CFO, not that every chartered accountant can be a CEO, but I can assure you that 1 degree of chartered accountancy will guarantee you to be a successful human being, a successful citizen of this country. So let us look at what are the other options that we have. And one of the major thing which is attracting many chartered accountants nowadays is the investment analysis. I find that the majority of the firms, whether they are names like Motilal Oswal, Anand Rathi, Securities, everybody is a chartered accountant. When you look at the valuers, they are chartered accountants. When you look at fund managers, they are chartered accountants. So basically, when I was talking about the foreign direct investment pouring into India, when you find that you need to track the share market, and when you need to see that how much I need to invest, in which way I need to invest, should I be going for portfolio management scheme, should I be going for systematic investment plan, should I be investing in a credit risk fund, should I be investing in an equity dominated fund, I suddenly find that the role of a chartered accountant as a financial analyst and the role of a chartered accountant as an advisor to either a small group of people, the individuals, the high net worth individuals, is offering multiple opportunities. As I perceive even my own retirement and life thereon, I think one of the things which may attract me is to what sort of a systematic investment that I have been able to do and how I'm going to pursue the returns. So I personally feel that this field of being a financial analyst or being a fund manager or being an investment advisor itself will require 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 or 10,000 chartered accountants to join this stream, and that is one of the options which I am going to very strongly recommend. The second option, friends, as I foresee, is the insurance. With COVID-19 making the life totally uncertain, making life much more difficult than what it was, suddenly I find that many people have started going back to their digital document, how many policies they hold. In case I die, do I have enough money for my family to sustain? Properties, insurance are being taken because of cyclones, because of earthquakes, so on and so forth. And that is a second field which is very promising. Whether it is SBI, whether it is HDFC, if you really talk about that with every expert, I always find one chartered accountant joining the discussion. Whether it is your claim settlement, whether it is initiation of the claim, whether it is the valuation of the impact because of any tragedies, whether it is fire or so on and so forth. I always found that the chartered accountants have played one of a major role in that field. And to me, apart from being the first one, that is a direct investment either in bonds, in shares, in equities, in mutual fund, so on and so forth. The second promising area, as I see, is insurance. And I'm not talking about life insurance, and neither I'm talking about the other insurance policies, but in both the fields, whether it is a LIC or into the marine insurance, so on and so forth. I think again, one of the major advantage that the chartered accountant of today's generation will have is the analytical mindset and a tech savvy that we need to be with or equipped with to pursue this course. So to me, that's again the second most promising field. The third most promising field, as I find for chartered accountants, is a evaluation of various agreement. Whether it is a lease agreement long-term between the two companies, whether it is a technical transfer agreement between the two conglomerates, whether it is a technical adoption agreement between a parent company, a sister company in India, whether it is an agreement between a subsidiary and a parent company, whether formation of a new company, its shareholding patterns, so on and so forth. Because very rightly, the Prime Minister, along with the FM, had made an announcement that any company which is new now, the tax rate will be 15%. And that has opened the floodgates to register the company, to look at the ventures. Again, what will come handy, friends, is your degree of chartered accountancy. I personally, I can relate to that even at my level, when I read an agreement of any nature, be it whatever I have described or beyond that, I find that we can always dig deep. We always say that one need to have a deep dive into every subject. Mr. Gupta has also rightly said that you need to have a detailed understanding. But when I read an agreement, I always give credit to my background being a chartered accountant, that I'm able to absorb that language much faster. I'm able to think beyond someone else. I'm able to analyze and correlate with the implications that can have not only financial, but even in legal. So again, that is one field, friends, which is to me looks to be very exciting. The one more field which is coming very promising, and I would request Central Council members, the regional council members to give very enough thought on this direction, is to be an arbitrator. Because legal disputes are here to stay, and not that every dispute has to end in a court of law. Majority of the times, you will find a provision in the agreement that in case of any dispute arising because of this agreement, both the parties here to agree that they will appoint their own arbitrator, and in case of dispute, there will be a sole arbitrator. I find that chartered accountant as arbitrator again do a remarkable thing. Again, based on the nature of the dispute, the quantum of the disputes, I have always seen a chartered accountant, if he happens to be or she happens to be an arbitrator, they are always in a position to equip themselves and resolve those disputes within the ambit of satisfaction of both the parties. So friend, in a nutshell, when I personally find that what has evolved in a chartered accountant from 1979 when I passed out, to my son who passed out about 10 years back, and to maybe tomorrow a grandchild of mine who would like to pursue a chartered accountancy, I think one of the major things that the institute and the regional councils have been able to keep pace is adapt to the changes. Mr. Gupta has rightly said that one need to continuously evolve. I give a lot of credit to our councils that with time they have evolved themselves. My strong recommendation to council again is that include IR and HR also as a specialty topics in chartered accountancy, because I find that the chartered accountants are able to create a wonderful impression in both the fields. And my dear students, apart from having this financial advantage of not paying a huge fees to be a chartered accountant, of not waiting for your results of GA and other competitive examination to be a chartered accountant, in a nutshell, I find that you can be on your own, wait in terms of investment analyst to a financial consultant. You can always form a group of 3, 4, 5 and become a firm of chartered accountants rendering specialty services. And today the whole spate of chartered accountants have undergone a change. No more that the audit firm is confined only to accounts and taxation. Today you find legal advisors coming from firm of chartered accountants, merger and acquisitions, that is again one very promising field, which is going to, it is already there for last 2 decades, but I find more spate of acquisitions happening, and on that valuation of companies, again, you have ample scope to demonstrate your skill sets. So in a nutshell, I find that the whole world is open for a chartered accountant. And with these avenues coming in, and with this solidarity that the institute is demonstrating with the students in terms of becoming more technically competent, in terms of exposing the students to the national and the international requirement, in terms of majority of the Institute of Chartered Accountants abroad, accepting Indian degree to be equal to them, whether it is England and I think in determining your own future, to me, my father always used to say, let me tell you, my father was not educated, my mother was just second standard, but they always used to say, you become a chartered accountant and the life is successful for you. I totally correlate that in last 40 years, nothing has undergone a change. When my son passed out, he asked me, what do I do? I said, as a chartered accountant, I will advise you to be a chartered accountant, but choice is yours. And today, he has ventured into his own industry. Friends, even in the industry, I find that he always comes up with different schemes, whether he would like to improve the productivity, the efficiency of the labor, having a better machine to replace the old machine. So this acumen that you get being a chartered accountant in terms of your analysis and the in-depth dive that you take into the subject makes you competent enough to qualify for any job and not restricted to one particular field, one particular subject, one particular company. My strong advice, not being only a chartered accountant, but being a CEO and also CFO. For example, when Lakshita introduced me, to education, in my opinion, perhaps now I feel that it was running in my blood as a chartered accountant. The sort of recommendation that I could come up for BK Birla Public School, BK Birla College, are testimony that as a chartered accountant, I could think my contribution in the field of education, and that is where again, many chartered accountants who are becoming professors, who are going as a faculty member, I think they are very much in demand. So in a nutshell, it is no more confined to accounts and tax. The whole world is yours, and I await many of you to become a fellow chartered accountant. I await when a day will come when 100, 200, 500 of you who are attending this webinar will write to us that you got inspired because of this webinar and chosen to be a chartered accountant, where I will be waiting for you to be engulfed in this field of a fellow chartered accountancy, and wish you all the wonderful lives. So friends, with that small note of various opportunities and available to you, bright future which awaits you later, I will be failing in my duties if I do not express my thanks to Lakshita, to Naresh, to Avinash, and to Vinod and all others at my own college for having given me an opportunity to be uh, associated on this webinar and to be reachable to this audience of more than 2000. I'd be quite willing if you could post any questions, you could pose any queries either to me to at today later, which I would like to answer. But with that, once again, on behalf of the college, thank you everyone for joining us, and special thanks to all my fellow colleagues at Kalyan, at WIRC, at Central Institute. A wonderful webinar, and compliments to the entire team of college for making it quite successful. Thank you.